The average conversion rate for a lead magnet, like a conversion tool, like an ebook, a discount code, a free call, free ticket, 10 to 15%. But we've seen quizzes that convert often at about 20 to 40%. The market has all the answers because your job is to serve the market. And whenever we do a live event in London, what really makes a difference is your face to face with your users and talking to them about the app. And we absorb like a sponge everything in the room every single time. It's just about listening to the market.
Hey, welcome to the Message Market Fit podcast. I'm your host, Chris Silvestri. This is the show where we chat with B2B SaaS folks, marketers, product leads, growth owners, and founders about how they join the conversation already happening in their customers' mind. We unpack how they think, how they research, and how they shape messages that actually move the needle. No fluff, just systems, insight, and strategy you can actually use. Quick note before we dive in. This podcast isn't sponsored. It's supported by Conversion Alchemy, my own consulting business. So if you're listening and thinking, I wonder how aligned our messaging actually is, check out the Message Market Fit Scorecard. It's a free diagnostic tool I built to help B2B SaaS teams pinpoint exactly where their messaging might be breaking down. You'll find the link in the show notes. I'm super excited about my guest today, Maxwell Nee. Maxwell is the former Chief Revenue Officer at ScoreApp, a powerful quiz marketing platform. Currently, he is co-founder of a renewable energy technology provider and also an advisor and investor. In this episode, we chat about how scorecard marketing can generate 30% conversion rates compared to traditional lead magnets, the power of personalization in customer acquisition, and Maxwell's approach to building high-performing teams. Let's dive right in. Hey, Maxwell, thanks so much for being here. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. I'm really good.
Awesome. Let's jump right in with a big question. I like big philosophical questions. So
Nice.
my question is, what do you think is the purpose of marketing beyond just driving sales? What is it for you?
Ooh, good question. So for me, yeah, obviously marketing's designed, like you wouldn't market if you didn't need to bring in sales. But marketing is also about building a brand and building a brand that has equity. For example, there's a lot of brands that do a lot of marketing and they purposely restrict sales. If you think about Rolex have more stores, more of their own stores now than ever. They've got the highest revenue now than ever, but they've also got more people being rejected from buying watches more than ever. And that's the brand they want to have. They want to have the brand of we are hard to get. So they specifically market, you can't buy this, which is so incredible that it works so well, but it just works so well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's communicating your point of view, that underlying theme behind why you do what you do.
Yeah, it's communicating why you do what you do. It's also communicating why you're different. But I think most of all, it communicates what you believe in, which is what really, it's like that secret sauce that can have people gravitate to you, be attracted to you. If you and I believe the same thing, then we're just going to naturally be attracted to spending time together and trusting each other and that type of thing. So that's like the invisible hand of marketing.
All right. So you are Chief Revenue Officer at ScoreApp. What do you think is your secret sauce, in your belief, your reason for doing it?
I think we have a few, but the one that I really love is we have an internal mantra, which is we are in the business of forcing our clients to be successful. So what we mean by that is we're bringing new ideas, new technology. ScoreApp is all of those. And we are delivering it in a way that we believe is the best, that stands out from most other tech companies. I'll give you an example. Most tech companies, they just have a chatbot for online help or like a ticketing system. So we have all that. Plus we have live webinars, plus we have one-on-one calls, plus we have a marketplace that we built so that you can speak to some of our preferred partners to work with them and pay for premium help if you want. Plus we have a book, a best-selling book that we've written on how to use this type of marketing and how to get it to work for you.
Yeah, love it. And as Chief Revenue Officer, I'm curious about the dynamics as well in teams. How do you influence and impact the messaging both for acquisition and retention?
For acquisition and retention, I think that those two things aren't related, but most of those two things aren't related. But the small part that's related is basically your ideal client, right? If you have your ideal client, your retention will be higher compared to a lucky client, like a one-off client. As an example, the ideal client to Ferrari isn't necessarily the crypto billionaire that's 21, right? The ideal client to Ferrari is like the 55-year-old ultra accomplished person who might also buy a Ferrari SUV and also a family car plus a two-seater Ferrari. So I think that a lot of businesses get into, I wouldn't say get into trouble, but they trip over trying to find the ideal client, and then they try to do a bit too much. So we really focus on a specific lane, which has worked well because we've all built different businesses before. So that really helps. And then, yeah, retention's pretty easy. Retention is just about over servicing and trusting that everything will. It's almost like retention's almost like believing in karma, I think. So where
Yes.
you might invest more per client to overservice them, which might feel like, oh, we're wasting money, but then you build a better brand out in the marketplace. A really good example of this is I think it's either Walmart or Costco. So Walmart and Costco, they invest money in finding people, businesses that sell stuff cheaper than them, and they make theirs even cheaper. So they're actively investing in charging less because they want the brand that they're always going to have the cheapest price. So you might as well always come here. So they're thinking really long term. And I think that thinking really long term is the only way to solve retention.
Yeah, it's what you said, customers to succeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
In your role, how do you or do you oversee marketing and sales to make sure that messaging is consistent between the two departments?
Yeah, I do a bit of that. I'm almost like a super salesperson. So I'm
Mm,
out there speaking on stages, doing workshops, doing podcasts, striking up partnerships and things like that. So I'm really about the tactical stuff, but the overall marketing strategy and brand, we're guided by just three words, which is ScoreApp is elegant, ScoreApp is powerful, and ScoreApp is fun.
mm,
So that's like the lifeblood through the business, and that's also out in the marketing. So what that means is for a tech company, we do physical events in London where we'll host a room of like 100 people, bring in a cool author and speak and just really not what you think when you think of a software company.
yeah. So you mentioned these specific words that you use, right?
Yeah.
And strategically and tactically, what does it look like in the company? What documents do you use to make sure that everybody can speak the same about the same themes and have the same like aligned conversations?
Yeah, good question. One thing that we do is that when you work at ScoreApp, you're definitely a part of the family. So
Mm,
we spend time together in person. I'm in Singapore, but we meet every 3 months in London, and I fly there. And then we stay in a hotel, and then we eat together. We might go out for dinner together, right? So it's really about operating as like a unit, first of all. And I think that good marketing, good messaging, and everything else, and that sort of the wheels move really smoothly when you are totally aligned and you got the right people in the right position in the first place. I think that 95% of
yeah.
problems are about people being in the right position in the first place. And then everything else, honestly, can just take care of itself. So there's the high level branding kit that was done 5 years ago. There was the values that was done 5 years ago. There was the fact that this team came together in the first place, like the founding team who are still together. So I think that all of that. Let me give you an example. So I really do believe it's all about just bringing the right people together instead of implementing a system and getting the people to fit as like round pegs into the system. Because, for example, if you put like Michael Jordan in any basketball team, that basketball team's going to play better because he
Mm,
just made them play better. Michael Jordan didn't bring SOPs with him
mm,
to different plays. He just oozed high performance, and then everyone else had to step up or they'd have to get out. I think that in startups and anyone in a business that's like less than $10 million a year, it's all about the right people in the right positions.
I like it. It's a bit of the difference between, I don't know, using an app to learn a language versus immersing yourself in the
Yeah.
culture, in the place, and visiting it.
Yeah. And I also believe that with the technical stuff, either it's almost if you have a waterfall, right? You have a waterfall and water's coming off the waterfall. You want to move the bricks so that the water goes down naturally where you want it to go. You don't want to have to keep getting a bucket and then putting water into where you want it to go, right? So that is what can happen when you have the right elements in the right places.
Yeah. From your experience, what are the things that marketing and sales need to agree on those deals faster or as fast as possible?
That marketing and sales need to agree on. That's a good question. I think that let's distinguish marketing and sales, right? So marketing is branding, it's PR, it's lead generation, it's customer journey, it's pushing, it's advertising, it's everything. And sales is just like the conversion event. So it's the bit where someone asks someone for money and then they either pay for it or they don't. I've been in businesses where marketing is 95% of sales, and I've been in businesses where sales is 95% of sales, where it was like to the quality of the salesperson. So I don't know if marketing and sales need to agree on anything specifically, to be honest. What I do think is that if you want to outperform anyone in your industry, what really excites me about marketing and sales and getting traction is bringing something new to the market. And that might have nothing to do with marketing or sales. It might actually have to do with a business model. For example, I saw on YouTube or a podcast that Shaquille O'Neal, the basketball player, has a $300 million business that no one knows about. And it's a really boring brand, and he likes boring brands. And all he's done is he's bought a whole bunch of car washes and then applied a subscription fee to them. So he's basically applied like the Spotify model to car washes.
Is
And
it the face of the brand?
he's not the face. So no one
Okay.
actually knew that he was his brand. So his brand didn't help. It was just that the business model was so cutting edge, even though it's so simple, that it just pierced through all the noise. And then the waterfall of sales and marketing just falls magically every minute of every day. So that for me is the holy aspiration to find a fit that's that perfect.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into the concept of a scorecard marketing. Can you unpack it for us? And why do you think it's such a powerful lead generation tool?
Yeah, so scorecard marketing, you might have heard of this before as like quiz marketing. So, a really common example is a personal trainer might be showing you an ad, or you might see something at the gym saying, fill out this form to find out your exact body type, small frame, medium frame, large frame. And based on your body type frame, we will recommend the exact nutrition plan and the exact workout steps so that you could half your workout time. You could achieve your goals in half the time. Because if you're doing the wrong thing for the wrong body type, you could be wasting your time and you don't even know about it. So that is an example, and that's really compelling and powerful for a few reasons. So the first reason is that the value proposition it's a personalized value proposition. So when I do the test, I get different results. When you do the test, you get different results. And when we get our results, then we can work out how to improve. And it's personalized. If you got yours, doesn't mean it's going to be the same as mine. I want to find out mine. Also, when you help someone to measure something, it becomes very compelling. We have a client, a personal branding expert, and personal branding is one of the most notoriously intangible things to market and sell and whatever else. And anyway, she provided a personal branding quiz that says, I'll rate your personal brand. Answer these 10 questions. I'll rate your personal brand. And you might have been a 0 to a 10. And she generated like 800 leads, that she'd never generated before, because people wanted to put a tangible measurement to something super intangible. And that made it very compelling. So people want to know where they at. And then if you say to someone, hey, look, you're actually a 2 out of 10, but let me share with you 3 things personalized to you, Chris, to help to get from 3 or 2 to 10, then that's very compelling.
Yeah.
So all of those elements put together make it very compelling.
I'm curious, in the case of the personal branding expert, what was the final indicators, those deliverable, let's say, if you can share?
Yeah, it was a measurement. So there's different types of scorecards. There's measurements, which is like 0 to 100%. You score 72%. You score
Okay.
5 out of 10. And there's another one, which is also like the buckets. So, your personal brand, you might have the Donald Trump personal brand, or you might
Kind of
have the
personality
Oprah.
test.
Yeah, personality test. Yeah, exactly. So personality test is actually also a quiz funnel, a scorecard.
Yeah.
So what a lot of people don't know is that when you tick that little terms and conditions box to receive your results are actually being collected and used by universities around the world so that they can better develop their IP.
And now AI, probably.
And now AI. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Personality quizzes. I don't know anyone that hasn't done one, some type of one. So yeah.
Yeah. I used to work at a company that designed and did conversion optimization for the site 16 Personalities. It's a big popular site.
Yeah.
They are very good.
Yeah.
Very good quiz. Yeah. What are the most common, or actually the most used and effective use cases for quizzes and types of businesses, like consultants, SaaS, e-com? Which ones do you see?
So we have more than 7,000 paying clients and also more than 100,000 people with a free account. So we have a lot of data. And in amongst that, the 95% of the clients are coaches, consultants, authors, service providers, thought leaders, digital entrepreneurs. So anyone that if you sell a product that could be delivered on Zoom, it will probably work for you. And it works really well for those people because they have an ocean, like the ocean of the internet, that they're able to get clients from. And we help you this is a tool for the internet. It's an internet driven tool, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen it. I've actually implemented it just using like a super simple type form, for example, but for an e-commerce website, mostly to help people find the right product or right buckets of products when there's a lot of products. Do you see that as well?
Yeah, that's a huge use case. Chris, if you were to log into Amazon.com and I was to log into Amazon.com, we would see completely different websites, right? Because it's got 10 years of my purchase history, 10 years of your purchase history, and it doesn't want to waste our time showing us what we're not interested in.
Yeah.
So a really good use case as well is I subscribed to this health and supplement store, and it put me through a scorecard immediately to help get the data on what I'm interested in, because it sold proteins, it sold pills and supplements, it sold t-shirts, it sold weightlifting straps, like it sold everything that anyone would need in a gym, and I wasn't interested in everything.
Yeah. I'm curious about the of quizzes. For example, I'm wondering when you draft like a homepage or landing page, maybe to keep the scope a bit more focused, would you use a quiz call to action as the primary call to action? So you basically sell the quiz result, or would you use it as more of a secondary call to action with a main call to action to, I don't know, get on a call, or if you're not ready, take the quiz?
Look, ultimately, I don't like giving answers to things that are really broad and vague. Like I try to be specific because that's where that extra 5-10% conversion increases, which makes all the difference.
Yeah.
But what I would say is it really depends on what type of business you have. So a quiz is just a way for you to offer a value proposition, and the value proposition is usually something like you can do a lot of education in a quiz. Like obviously the body type education thing is a lot of education. So if your product needs a lot of education, coaches, consultants, they need a lot of education because it's very intangible, then you probably want to use it right at the top and right at the front of your website, right?
Yeah.
But if your product is super simple, like you are an architect, right, and someone knows why they're talking to an architect and what an architect does, then maybe it's secondary to just talk to us.
Yeah, based on the level of awareness and sophistication, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. When it comes to writing the actual questions that you ask, how do you think about structuring them? And does ScoreApp help you as well in writing the flow of questions?
Yeah, so it used to take, this is one of the hardest parts. It used to take about a day and a half to get the ScoreApp set up because you have to write questions, you got to learn copywriting a little bit, and it was a bit like setting up a website and writing everything on the website, right? But now we've integrated the AI wizard, that the AI wizard will put you through a scorecard, ask you to answer some questions, and then it'll write 6 to 7 hours of copywriting and a whole marketing campaign for you. So
Oh,
that
wow.
you've got draft 1, 2, and 3 done. Yeah, and then you just go in there and polish the final version.
I love it. Okay, when it comes to turning visitors into engaged leads, right? For ScoreApp, I'm curious, did you use quizzes for yourself, or what other strategies have you used to turn visitors into leads?
Yeah, we use ScoreApp, definitely. So, the first page on our website is ScoreApp. Visitors into leads is anything can be done with enough traffic. And there's a lot of free organic traffic sources that I think that people overlook or discount, and they just go straight to paying for ads. For example, so we get about 100, 150 people register for a free account a day. So
Mhm.
that's 3 to 4, 5,000 a month. So we grow very fast. And we spend almost zero on ads. So that's all from, we've been in the market 5 years. We've got a book. We do live events online and in person. We do SEO. We do a lot of SEO, and we do a lot of YouTube videos. So we commit to doing a YouTube video at least once a week, like brand new content, not copied and pasted, sit in front of the camera and put out something valuable. And then also podcasts. Podcasts is so underrated. I say the same thing to everyone. The average person that listens to podcasts they spend at least 1 hour a day. So that's 7 hours a week. So that's more than what most people spend in terms of quality time with
Yeah.
their partners.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then also when someone's listening to a podcast, there's a different attention span, right? So people listen to this to learn, to better themselves, to get something out of it. It's like when you read a book, not the same attention span when you're sitting in front of Netflix, right?
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When it comes to conversions or conversion rates, how do you see quizzes impact conversion rates?
Yeah, good question. The average conversion rate for a lead magnet, like a conversion tool, like an ebook, a discount code, a free call, free ticket, whatever that is, whatever that free thing, 10 to 15%. But we've seen quizzes that convert often at about 20 to 40%. So based on the more than 100,000 people registered for ScoreUp right now, the average conversion rate last year for 2024 was 30%. Yeah.
Why do you think it's the case? Is it because of the education that a quiz provides as well?
I
Like
think
a
there's
qualification as well?
it's different for every business, but I think a personalized experience is always going to be more compelling than a
Yeah.
unpersonalized experience. And then also there's an element of so the logical thing is you get an outcome, but then the emotional pull is that there's a bit of like ego that's tickled. It's, oh, what's mine? Find out what's mine. It's like a self-discovery.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a
That
self-discovery exercise, right? Like there's the exact same reason why you do a personality quiz. Like it
yeah,
doesn't benefit you in any way necessarily, but everyone's naturally curious about their personality.
yeah. Well, learn more about myself. What are the most common mistakes that you see companies make with their lead magnets?
Most common mistakes. Yeah, good question. I get asked this question a lot. 90% of why someone will do your lead magnet is based on the title. If you had horrible graphic design, I've actually seen horrible graphic design on a lot of the quizzes, and things that didn't make sense, or things that were a little bit too complex. Like they were just
Mm.
it was like a doctor putting their medicine textbook
Oh,
worth of text on. Yeah, just really no one understands that. But they had a good title, but the title does all the heavy lifting. So unfortunately, or fortunately, everyone judges a book by its cover. So the better you cover your book, the more people are going to read it. It's just
yeah,
we all know that.
yeah. Appearances. Okay, so you mentioned 7,000 subscribers. What do you think contributed most to that scaling ScoreApp?
Yeah, I think that everything starts at the core, right? Everything starts at like the core fundamentals. So the core fundamentals was that we have a team of A players, from the developers to the marketers to the founders to everyone's an A player. And if you're not an A player and you're a B player, you will naturally get pulled up to being an A player because you're in that environment. And then tactically, ScoreApp was very strategic. We didn't just say, hey, we're going to launch a business just because we had a dream about it. My business partner, Daniel, one of the founders, he had the idea for ScoreApp for years, but didn't execute it until all the right pieces were in the right place. And he actually messaged 3,000 people about the idea in different ways to gather data to see what shape it should have. The market built the product more than we just painted a picture and said, hey, come and buy it. We say, what picture do you want? And then we'll paint it.
Yeah. I'm curious about, especially at that scale, how do you use personalization in your messaging? Is it mostly in the quizzes or any other strategy?
Look at Amazon's personalization, right? We have a large scale, but we also have very clear, defined lanes. So what we know is that the needs of our target audience, coaches, consultants, authors, diversifiers, anyone that sells anything online, have the same problem, which is it's hard to differentiate yourself online. So you want an edge to do that. You can easily look like everyone else. How can you offer something that could be delivered instantly? Because people don't want to wait online. You don't want to wait in person. You don't want to wait online.
Yeah. So when it comes to personalization, you especially have probably huge mountains of data on your customers, right? And I'm curious, how do you make sense of it, especially now with AI? Also, some of the work that I do, I use AI a lot to make sense of data, to analyze, extract insights. So yeah, I'm curious, how do you use it? How do you make sense of it?
Yeah, so we use all of that. We also have a really good data scientist on our team whose job is just to do that, just to extract insights that we could use to help our clients. Even though we're a big company, we're really good at listening to the market. But like when the market has all the answers because your job is to serve the market. And whenever we do a live event in London with 300 clients, 100 clients, 300 clients, yeah, that's a lot of fun and it's cool. And we probably make a little bit of money from it, but not really. We can take it into account how much time goes into it. And it's good branding and marketing. But what really makes a difference is your face to face with your users and talking to them about the app. And we absorb like a sponge everything in the room every single time. It's just about listening to the market. And yeah, you can analyze data and look at trends and all that type of stuff. And at some point, computers will just do that for you. But what computers can't do is sit in a room and just sense how everyone's feeling about a pitch that you're delivering, like that. Yeah, that
kind of
pulse.
empathy. Yeah. Can you share? Do you have in mind an example of an insight that you've gotten from listening to customers that helped you make a big change in the business or a shift in some way?
Yeah, so we looked at one recently. We looked at like the people that stay with us the longest compared to the people that might join and unjoin. So if someone is using us so you can use us in 3 places. There's top of funnel, lead generation. There's bottom of funnel, which is to assist the sale. Like a salesperson might use us as like a form or whatever, like a part of the sales process instead of part of the marketing process. There's also in the customer journey where you've already got a customer and you might use us as a survey or customer journey check-in tool or feedback form or whatever else. Or you might use us for events at all 3. What we found is the people that stay with us the longest are using us at the bottom of the funnel. And the people that are just joining and unjoining are using us for top of the funnel, which is like new marketing campaigns. Like, for example, you might feel like doing a big marketing campaign, you do all this work, and then you don't do one for another 6 months. So you're like, okay, I'm going to pause my subscriptions. That makes sense. But we have clients that have a 25-person sales team, and they do, I don't know, they get 500 forms filled out a month type of thing. And we're at the bottom of their sales funnel. We're at the conversion event. So that is like the stickier part of why you would use us.
And what are you doing if you started doing something about it to attract more of those customers? Can you name any initiative maybe?
We do look at one number. One number we look at is the conversion of a free client to a paid client, like the freemium. We got a freemium model. So what's that
Yeah.
conversion rate? I think the industry standard is anything over 10% is really good. We recently hit 12, which is fantastic. And it took us 5 years to get there, right? Like it's never been over 10 consistently for 3-4 months. And funnily enough, the biggest thing that we did was we stopped paying for advertising. So we just focus on organic, deeper penetrating organic content instead of just throwing out brochures like bang, right, to everyone that walks past.
Yeah. What was the sign that told you like we shouldn't focus on ads? Was it that they weren't really working, or you saw exponential results organically?
That's a good question. So there's two things, but I'll tell you something really interesting. What's interesting is if ads were still cheap, like as cheap as they were 10 years ago, we probably wouldn't have turned them off because it's like they're so cheap, but more numbers can't hurt, right?
Yeah.
But because they've gotten so expensive and at the same time they've gotten expensive and less effective, then it was like, hey, this categorically isn't working. Like the cost isn't working and the conversion isn't working, but it used to just be the conversion isn't working, but the cost was okay. So it was like, we just keep paying for it. So we paid for ads every month for 4 years. Like we paid a lot of money on that. And if you think about $20 a lead, how many $20 have we spent? But so the universe pointed towards it's not working and it's expensive, turn it off. Let's see what happens. And there's less volume coming in, but the number of people actually buying is probably the same.
Yeah. Yeah, focusing on quality rather than quantity mostly. I know that you also rely on some influencers, right? So you have some big names. How much of a big part of that traffic is influencer marketing for you?
Influencer marketing it's a tricky thing, right? Because there's a lot of excitement in influencer marketing, and excitement isn't sustainable. People get excited, pay for something that they'll never use, and then that never lasts. We have that every now and then, but it's definitely not a focus. We don't focus on trying to keep the excitement consistently 10 out of 10 because that would just be exhausting, and it naturally just dies down. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Maxwell. I wanted to ask one final question, which I'm always curious about, which is where do you go to learn anything new? What are your favorite resources or places?
Yeah, good question. So I'll share two things. First thing is I hate reading, but I love Audible and listening to audiobooks. So Audible is definitely preferred over reading. And then I also make an effort I run like because I'm an investor.
Yeah.
Like I actually started as an angel investor in ScoreApp before anything else. And in ScoreApp, as an investor, I run like a private investment club, which is basically just like a WhatsApp group. So we have a WhatsApp group, we share ideas, we send decks, we ask people for help, and it's just like a group of friends, just like any group chat, to be honest. Specifically, investors is like the filter. And I love learning from people in that group because specifically, if you're an investor, you're pretty smart in something, right? Because you're betting money on, you've got conviction in something. And I love learning from people with conviction in things.
Yeah, especially because you're learning from various experiences, various types of businesses. So you get all the knowledge from all those filtered, basically.
Yeah, and it's not like in a book. I saw 5 people actually do it.
Yeah. When it comes to audiobooks, I'm curious because what I try to do, so I listen to audiobooks at the gym basically 2 hours a day almost. But one of my pet peeves is that from audiobooks, it's hard to sometimes retain information or take notes. So I also always get the electronic version of the book so that I can highlight as I listen to the book in between sets of the gym. So how do you do that? Like for you?
Yeah, so I'm a very obsessive person. So when I listen to a book, I'm usually very obsessive about that author. So then I'll go very deep on the author. So I'll listen to that book multiple times, and then I might go and search for all of their podcasts, and then I might then search for their books that aren't on Audible, and then I might search for any YouTube videos that they've done. So I don't read many books a year. I'd be lucky to read more than 5, to be honest. But each one that I read, I get obsessed about, and I implement everything for months, and then I move on to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something that I have to work on. One of my promises for this year was to read fewer books, but maybe the more important books and foundational books rather than just following all the shiny new ones that come out.
Yeah, or just actioning. I love actioning. So
Yeah.
if I could action without listening to books, I wouldn't. I prefer
Yeah.
actioning than learning new stuff.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. It's been great having you. So people can get your book for free. So they can
So
find your
ScoreApp,
book.
I'm holding up a version of it. It's
Yeah.
called Scorecard Marketing. If you go to ScoreApp, ScoreApp.com/book, we can get a copy out to you, physical, if not PDF.
Awesome. And the people can find you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn's the best place.
All right. Awesome. And I'll link to everything in the show notes. Thank you again, Maxwell, and have a great day.
Perfect. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks so much for listening. If the episode sparked some ideas or made you rethink how you're doing messaging, check out the Message Market Fit Scorecard. It's free, quick to complete, and it'll show you exactly where your copy or strategy might be misaligned. You'll find the link in the show notes. And if you want to go deeper or just bounce ideas around, I'm always up for a chat. Hit me up on LinkedIn or Twitter @SylvestriChris. And of course, if you enjoyed the episode, leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps more people discover it. That's it for this one. See you next time.